Hi everyone, it's Sarah Oblak Spiker here. Happy Friday. How are you? I literally have about 10 minutes, so I will do my best to make this live as short as possible. But I do want to talk to you about something very interesting that came to my awareness in the process of writing my book. And this particular conversation right now, piggybacking from that experience, was also inspired by a conversation with one of my clients who is an amazing, amazing, amazing person, high accomplished, high achiever, just like me. And as we were discussing her experience, I was like, you know what, this gets to be a bigger conversation, and this gets to be a conversation that we share. Now, my environment right now, it's a little louder than what I had anticipated. They're cutting the grass in like 3 different locations around me, and the birds are chirping, so I trust that you can hear me. I hope that you can hear me. But that said, let's dive right in. So, as I mentioned in the introduction, writing this book has been a part of a project with 2 particular intentions. One intention is the legacy piece for my kids. And I wanted to really open up my heart and really lay it all out for them to really understand their heritage, to understand where they're coming from, to understand the family story. The second piece was also to inspire bigger conversation when it comes to these global multicultural dynamics, when it comes to new age leadership, and when it comes to really understanding where we are coming from, evolving as beings, making different choices, creating a different way of living and leading, and just being different from what we used to be. And I feel like this is a conversation the world is finally ready to have. So those are the main 2 inspirations. In the process, however, I uncovered something very unpredictable and very interesting. I have a dear friend. She's a writer's whisperer, and she has this amazing ability to not only hold space, but to ask things differently, to help access supreme knowledge that is only accessible in synchronicity with, her spirits, I would say, in spirit guides, and I could never access it on my own with intellect alone. So as we are doing this work that allows me to soul stream and heart stream this particular book, I noticed how my energy shifted in 2 particular events. My book, as I don't know if I ever mentioned, is kind of a biography, so it bases on actual events, but it is also a story of 6 generations of women in my lineage. So for when I was writing about the past, and I was writing my their own lives and their own experiences and my own experience up until about 6 years ago, I noticed how the energy was really light, and I noticed how the energy was really, upbeat and optimistic. And then I noticed how the years when I battled postpartum depression and severe burnout, it almost felt like having this tunnel vision. And my husband, of all the people around me, all of a sudden, the way I perceived his role in my life and his support and just his being, as I'm uncovering and I'm writing it through this book, I was like, holy shit, he was perceived as a villain. After I did my inner work, after I got my ass handed to me by several mentors and coaches that I heavily invested in because I needed to do this work to save my own life, and then consequently together we got into the space where our own marriage now is so much stronger, so much deeper. We have such a deeper connection, and again, the energy is still again live and upbeat and limitless. So that got me curious. What was it about those years of tunnel vision and really myopic thinking that made him such a villain. And that's where the conversation with my client comes in, that I said it inspired this particular live stream. See, as a former elite athlete, as an international student, as a descendant of incredibly fierce, independent women, that was my persona. Independent, fierce. So when I had to surrender myself in the process of healing, it was a huge battle between this divine knowing and my ego. I was unable, I did not have capacity, physical capacity, mental capacity, emotional capacity, spiritual capacity to receive what was offered to me, including my husband's support, unconditional love, and sometimes tough love. You know, I'm gonna be really brutally honest here. Instead, I went into the space of, I would almost say, victimhood, when the only narrative that was available to me was my own inability, incompetence to achieve the goals that, by the way, as a high achiever, I have set so high that astronauts would have a hard time reaching them in time frames that were nearly impossible. But here's the essence of this live stream. Here's the essence of this message I want to convey to you today. That is what so many of us highly accomplished, driven individuals do. We set our goals so high in timelines so condensed that we guarantee our own failure. Because you know what? Failing and beating ourselves over and seeing ourselves as incompetent is safer than the alternatives. For some of us, it's the comfort zone, not just the zone of safety, it's the zone of comfort, the only thing we have known. And for some of us, it's kind of a mechanism that allows us to keep fitting in the molds and constructs that were passed out onto us when we were told from the young age that we are too much, that we are going above ourselves and beyond ourselves and, ahead of ourselves. And it's oftentimes, I would say, a learned thing. Now, as I was talking to a client of mine, and as my personal experience has been, and so has been the one with so many other clients who, some of them even have built multiple seven-figure businesses, and they had to walk away because it was like, okay, great, I have this, I have accomplished what was expected of me, but I feel empty, I feel disconnected, I feel like I'm thriving on a paper and on the outside, but on the inside I'm literally falling apart. Like, help, what am I supposed to do? What's next? How can I really bring it all together, harmonize it all to really thrive? It starts within. So like I said, in the conversation with this particular client, what she was saying was, if somebody gives me something and offers me help, I need to keep track of it because I have to return the favor. I don't want to owe anything to anybody, especially when it comes to a service that I would gladly pay for, but I refuse to receive it for free. Like I said, right, even in a relationship with my own husband, over the years, I was keeping the score, tits for tats. What do I owe? What do I owe? What do I owe? What do I owe? It's exhausting just to think about it. So my offer, my invitation here would be to perhaps just be with the idea of what is fair to you, what is an equal exchange to you, and then challenge you a little bit further too. If you also think that you're worth and that you are only worthy of receiving something if you justify it with numbers, may it be on a scoreboard, may it be on a bank account, may it be on a scale, may it be on a timer. What is this equal exchange, in particular monetary exchange? What is money anyway? money is energy, right? So is there such thing as exchange of energy, or could it be a circulation of energy? And this circulation is actually something that my business partner Diane and I are playing in all the time, and we are softening into too, because she being an elite athlete also has been conditioned in this exchange and tits for tats kind of mentality and scorekeeping. And it's exhausting. Beyond that, if we establish that there is such thing as circulation, what do we do when we block ourselves from receiving one thing? There's no such thing as a circuit breaker. It's like, well, we're gonna block this one, but we keep this one open, and we're gonna block here, but we're gonna keep this open. No, the whole thing blows out. We are building a dam all over, all around. The way we do one thing is how we do everything was one of the first lessons I have learned when I really dove into just the mindset work, mindset 2.0, I should say. So that is my invitation to you. When you find yourself in a space again when your goals are so high and your ambition is just bursting at the seams, and when things are maybe not going as fast as you wanted to go, or they're not turning out as much as you wanted to, or in a way that you wanted to, and it's so tempting to again go down this rabbit hole of this diminishing yourself. What if you could just be curious? What is it that's emerging? What is it that you require? What kind of void are you trying to fill? What are you deflecting? What are you hiding from? And just give yourself some grace and be with that. And then a last piece, and that can be a segue to a whole different conversation. But the last piece in this conversation, then, the last layer of my offering to you, if you're game, is I would also ask you, right, when we have this dynamic between giving and receiving. I know somebody like my husband, he's a natural giver. I was preventing him from being who he is in his essence because I was so closed up in my own fears and perceptions and kind of a preconceived ideas of what am I supposed to be like and how am I supposed to behave as this strong independent woman, right? And he was not able to give me because I kept pushing things away because I didn't create them. God forbid I received them. Or if I receive them, oh my gosh, now I owe something. I mean, wow. So, like I said, this is such a bigger conversation that we can have, and yet it is present in so many different ways. From my experience, I could say in pretty every aspect of our lives, in every aspect of how we make decisions, how we run our businesses, how we play our game, how we parent, how we are in relationships, how we are in relationships to ourselves. And it is such a crucial part, when a person would come to me, hey, I just need a business strategy, when they really are open and when they're really available to transform their entire lives, knowing that the strategic piece is actually just one of the many entry points. Having this wall around them and having the mentality that, mentality might be not quite a fitting word here, but yeah, that is one of the things that we address. And the strategic pieces typically is just scratching the surface and yet another distraction that the brain needs, that the mind needs, that the intellect needs, so it can distract from what actually has to happen. Especially when we come to a space, right, when all of a sudden things don't quite work the way they used to. Even our most trusted and amazing strategies that we had in place and they brought us to where we are, all of a sudden are not working, much less gonna take us to where we want to be and where we know we're destined to go. But yeah, having the need for this 5-piece here and 3 steps there, it's distracting our mind because the work that really needs to get done, it's tearing down those dams that we have built, blocking one thing and blocking the other thing and blocking the third thing, and all of a sudden we have a huge they're blocking completely everything. So doing that kind of work, yeah, it's scary, it's uncomfortable, and above it all, it is one of the things that is really, it cannot be contained in a particular structure that the coaching industry would like to present, to say, within 2 weeks we're going to do this, and within 3 months we're going to do this, within 6 months we're going to do this. Because honestly, what has been building up for the whole lifetime, what has been building up for decades, again, to borrow the words of one of my mentors, we're not fairy godmothers. We can't undo something in, snapping our fingers that has been building up for many decades. Plus, it is a work that is ongoing. It's layers that are keep peeling. It doesn't necessarily require going down the rabbit hole. It can simply be an elegant way of allowing things to come to surface, and then having the tools to address them and respond to them instead of reacting to them. But again, this is a whole conversation for a whole other time. So for today, my offer, again, my invitation to you is to just get curious. When you find yourself that you have those high goals that you're not quite accomplishing, and you want to be hard on yourself, when you notice that you have hard time receiving, and when you are comparing yourselves to others, maybe it's what has been built or what kind of timeline it's required you to get to where you thought you would be, and a whole other variety of things. When you notice, when you have the awareness, and when you can address this from neutral mind, and you see that you have this myopic thinking, tunnel vision kind of lens on, yeah, those are a couple of things to really be with. And then just being honest with yourself from neutral mind. Where can you drop the judgment? So that's from today. I said I had 10 minutes. Well, we're 10 minutes beyond that. But I do want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this space and this energy. And I hope you find this message what you are seeking and exactly what you are requiring. If you have questions, let me know. If you're ready to go all in and take your business, take your life, take your relationships to a whole new level, let's talk. And also, if you find yourself in a space where you want more and you're ready for the next level, but you just don't have the clarity, which, side note, oftentimes one of the ways we are holding ourselves back is waiting for this clarity to come to us, as opposed to actively and strategically cultivating it. We can have this conversation as well, because idling, paddling, it's wasting your energy, it's wasting your focus, it's wasting your time, and it's probably costing you a lot more than it would be to take the leap that is waiting for you, and it's inevitable. Is that a word? Inevitable? Yeah, it is. So, sending you much love and sunshine here from New York. You know where to find me, and I'll talk to you soon.